Hello, welcome to Axiom Flux News. Today's date's the 3rd of January 2015. We're going to go over to Bock. He's going to start us off tonight with some reports. Hello, Bock, are you there?
Hey, BJ, Andy. Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, up in where I live, near close to Toronto, Canada. Here's a little video I took earlier today showing you can see the poor visibility ahead. It's snowing pretty thick, even though you can't see the snow. Just to give you an idea of the visibility. And this just started when I filmed there. That's about an hour into it. And I'll show you the other clip here quickly. It's two short clips. This is the other one here. And this, I just drove by this earlier today. I just paused it here. Right here, there's a car back there, and he slid. I don't know from where, but there's a big ditch in here. And somehow he slid all the way across this ditch, facing the other way. And when I drove by it the first time, I checked. I pulled over right around here somewhere and looked back, and everyone was okay. They were all walking around. So, and this is on my way back. Less than 5 minutes, everyone was here. The police, ambulance, everybody. There it is there. You can see it. So I'm guessing, luckily, there's another accident vehicle. So apparently there was a collision between a couple of cars here. Luckily, I think no one was hurt. Yeah, I just wanted to share that little video with you guys. And while we're talking about the weather, we had some snow here, and tonight we're going to get freezing rain warning in effect. And everyone who's been through some freezing rain knows how bad that can be. So the weather is going to be, a little rough here over the next couple of days. It was initially Wednesday. They showed that it was going to be about minus 21. Now they've moved it to Thursday evening, and it's minus 19. So regardless, it is coming. So anyone near Toronto or Vaughan area where I am, get ready, be prepared, get your water and all that. You never know. And moving on, here's another article here I thought was worth sharing. Flu shot no match for H3N2 strain reported across Canada. So that's the latest I've heard. And just yesterday I was reading another article, and they were saying how good it was and all this. And just the day after, once again we have controversial reports. And I think this is a rather large discussion, but I just wanted to quickly share that. Another little one here. The Adventures, a story told in stone. This caught my eye because it looked like something megalithic. You can see the little patterns on here. The intriguing 4-part series, The Adventurers, is about maverick explorers searching for vanishing populations, lost cultures, and hidden cities, proving that there are people and places out there that the rest of us are barely aware of. I wish they would tell you where this one is specifically. Well, that's too bad. So it's a 4-part miniseries, The Adventurers. And I got this article from The Nature of Things with David Suzuki, which is actually, for a mainstream television show, that's actually very good. I'm always glad to see David Suzuki. He's an environmental guru and one of the brightest men when it comes to nature and everything, environment and all that stuff. So just wanted to share that with you guys. And that's it from over here. On to you guys.
Nice book. Yeah, that were interesting. The first one article, I can't see it now, it's gone off your screen, but did have something to say, but don't know if you can put it back up for a minute or two.
Oh yeah, sure. Which was it, the flu shot or the weather?
I think it was. Did you do the flu shot?
Yeah, I quickly talked about it.
All right. I think it was that one then. If that was your first one. I know you showed some YouTube clips before on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Just I think it was just halfway in. Let me see if I can find it.
Actually, there were some things here that I should have mentioned. Here's some quick ones.
That's the one where we're at close to peak, certainly in southern Ontario for influenza activity.
Yeah. We're we're at or close to our peak, certainly in southern Ontario for influenza activity. And up here they said flu gastro cases flood Montreal hospitals. Actually, I think I did read this. Um, these are record numbers for this time of year. Said the head of ER department, St. Justine's. In Manitoba, emergency rooms are very busy. The number of people with the flu who reported to ERs and could not be sent home is almost double the normal rate for this time of year.
The reason
Yeah.
for high numbers of hospitalizations and activity could be this year's strain. So how is it over there?
Interestingly,
How is
yeah,
your hospitals over there, Buck? Is there any sort of austerity
they're
on your hospitals over
no,
there?
they're probably not as um, overburdened as your system is, but we're getting there. Especially in our big cities like Toronto. Like now, if you go to emergency, the waiting area will be at least half full.
Right. What's the average wait for an emergency visit? Do you know?
It really depends. I guess it's
Yeah.
all luck and timing is a part of it.
Don't know if
I
Andy's got
think they
anything to
generally
say.
say weekends are worse because people do odd things on, you know, on weekends after some partying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They say the emergency is usually busiest on weekends.
Yeah. So drive carefully tonight if it's bad weather over there. If anybody is listening in from that area and they
Yeah.
don't want to fancy a wait in the hospital.
This was an interesting comment here. I'll quickly read this. This person's regarding these flu shots and stuff. This person wrote, "Not germs, Mother Nature. It's evolution in action. We can't do a complete antibiotic because we're biotic ourselves, but anything less leaves room for natural selection to find a mutation that isn't affected by the drug. And when we're up against something that breeds millions of times faster than we're able to create new vaccines, the end result is entirely predictable." So that's pretty neat. It's an interesting point of view. Yeah, so that's it for me, guys.
Bob, if you leave the article up, can you go to the
Yeah,
top?
hey, Andy. Yeah, go ahead if you want to say something.
Yeah, very quickly. Can you go to the top again? The actual title of it. Right to the top. Yeah, it's flu shot no match for H3N2 strain reported across Canada. So, the flu shots they were given before this outbreak, were they for H3N2? Because it doesn't actually say in the article whether the flu shots that they're stating is no match for H3N2. Does that mean that they gave people the H3N2 flu shot and it doesn't seem to be working? Or is it that they didn't give people the flu shot for H3N2 and people are getting it because they didn't give it the shot for it? What are they saying?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Andy. I don't think they were too specific in this article about that, but I have a feeling that they're saying that the H2N2 virus has mutated into this H3N2 virus, and their vaccinations are not up to date.
Mm. He
Whether
said,
you believe they work or not, they're not up to date, because as you guys, just using common sense, know that every virus and stuff like this are capable of mutating. Like
yeah,
that commenter said earlier, it's Mother Nature at work. Of course it's going to mutate.
yeah.
So about as useful as a chocolate fire guard, aren't they?
An ashtray on a motorcycle, and look under the photo there, it says flu shot, not a good fit. I think that pretty much sums it all up.
Oh, right, okay. How
Yeah.
many strains are there every year? Thousands, aren't there? Oh yeah, that's all, Book. I found
Yeah.
that the title didn't quite match.
No,
A bit
that's very good. You pointed that out, Andy. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for that, Bob. Oh, very quickly, what was the last article? Oh yeah, about ancient civilizations being on these places because of what they're finding. Um, are they actually saying in that? Because I might have misinterpreted the article. Are they actually saying that there are people on islands that live now that people are unaware that people live there? If you see what I'm saying, or are they just referring to ancient civilizations that are long gone only?
I believe there were civilizations that were long gone.
Okay.
Right here. Oh, cultures as well.
Right. Okay. I just thought, I don't know, I got something
Oh,
in my,
no, it was people. You're right. Here we go. The Adventures is about maverick explorers searching for vanishing populations, lost cultures, and hidden cities.
If you scroll up to the image there, Bob, you can see some sort of carving work on the
Yeah,
structure.
that I was saying. There's some intriguing designs carved into the rock here.
Yeah, definitely.
This is undoubtedly some sort of a megalithic scale of a stone here.
yeah, I mean, the reason why I asked that, whether they were referring to people that are actually on remote islands that, for the most part, most people in the Western world or civilized world, or should we say, just, city, urban areas don't realize these people even exist. And it just reminds me of an article I remember reading about, well, my father, many years ago, read it, and he was laughing his socks off about it, and asked him what it was about, and it was in national newspapers. That it was in the 70s. I was a teenager, and uh, apparently the holiday makers on one of these Japanese islands were frightened to death after encountering a Japanese sniper firing at them. This is in the 1970s. Well, it turned out to be a true story that the Japanese sniper had been there since World War II, and he was so remote on this island, nobody told him that the war was over.
Right, right. I've heard similar stories with guys in Vietnam and stuff where they had American veterans who were trapped in the jungles, and years later, some people went in there and tried to look for them, and when they found them, they had to tell them the war's over, man.
Yeah, yeah, but this Japanese sniper was taking pot shots at these holiday makers in the 70s, and he didn't realise that the war. Anyway, I don't know, it just brought that item up from many years ago. But yeah, good article, Buck. Yeah, excellent. Thanks very much.
Yeah, well, if your dad's got the same sense of humour as you, Andy, I can picture him now laughing his socks off.
Oh yes, yeah, that sort of thing that did make him chuckle, but yeah.
Okay, I'll share some of my articles with you now. Okay, this is an article today from the Bloomberg. AirAsia violated flight path rules on day of crash, Indonesia has said. Go into this little chart in a minute, this little graph here. But before we do start, just briefly going over this article, I'm going to bring you a little quick update. The operator of Flight 8501 that went down in the Java Sea almost a week ago had the debate about coordination between the government and Singapore. AirAsia was only permitted to fly the Surabaya to Singapore route on 4 days of the week, not including Sunday when the crash occurred. Indonesia's Transportation Ministry said yesterday. Singapore's Civil Aviation Authority contradicted that directive today, saying the airline had been authorised to run daily flights during the winter season under bilateral air services accord. The development came as sonar deployed in plane search discovered large objects on the seabed suspected to be the fuselage. 4 more pieces of the plane were located today. Indonesia's Search and Rescue Agency Chief Bambang Sulistyo told reporters in Jakarta. And then going into this article, it just gives you some measurements of pieces that have been spotted on the seabed. Also, it shows some images of some of the wreckage and things involved that have been brought back to land. Gives details on Singapore. So more bodies have been found and brought back and buried. Some bodies have been reported to have still been attached to the seats, and really that's, you know, as the tragic event unfolds, the blame's now been put onto the actual, you know, owners of the airline and certain members. As one person in this article says, you know, somebody didn't do the job correctly. So the official version that it seems to be going out most is blaming the weather. But these questions on that. This chart here at the top is well, it says the price chart of AirAsia BHD. So as you can see from the months previous, December and November and October, going back up until now where we're at, we had a slight rise beforehand and then a sudden instant drop over the period of this tragedy involving AirAsia. So moving on to another article. Bringing you back now on some information from the Greek ferry fire. There's 4 more under investigation. Firefighters boarded the charred Norman Atlantic ferry in the Italian port of Brindisi on Friday to put out residual fires and allow a search for possible dead. A blaze broke out aboard the ferry on Sunday as it was travelling from Greece to Italy, killing at least 11 people. Italy says 477 people were rescued, mostly by helicopters that plucked survivors off the top deck in gale force winds. The article then goes on to talk about the future from this incident, and it also says they're now trying to remove the actual wreckage to the nearest dock, and the investigation continues. So moving on to my next final quick article. This one is from The Guardian. Iran denies nuclear deal with US. Tehran says talks of an agreement aims to tarnish the climate of the talks and make a settlement more difficult to reach. Iran has denied striking a deal with the US to reduce Tehran's potential ability to manufacture nuclear weapons, following earlier reports that an agreement had been reached. The Associated Press said on Friday that Tehran and Washington had agreed the outline of a deal under which Iran would ship its surplus enriched uranium to Russia. It has also said negotiators had drawn up a catalogue outlining areas of potential agreement and differences in the long-running dispute. Iran's foreign ministry spokeswoman Marzia Afkan said, however, that no agreement of any nuclear top had been reached, really. Such news is spread out of political motives, and its goal is to tarnish the climate of the talks and make it more complicated to reach a settlement. The semi-official ISNA agency, citing an informed source, also denied the report. The topic of transferring uranium abroad has been circulating for a while, but we haven't had any agreement in this regard. So I don't know if any of you guys would like to go over anything I've covered so far today in these 3 articles.
Yeah, just very quickly, with the Airbus disaster, the AirAsia. Don't know if I could quickly share a screen very quickly there, PJ.
Certainly, just give me 1 second to click you on. Yep, go ahead.
Oh, there we go. Where's my thing? There it is. Sorry, it won't take long. Full screen. Start. Okay, does that come up?
Yeah, that's up.
Okay, just referring to what you were saying about, and you showed a little graph with the shares in the airline, whatever. Well, there's been questions been asked about the Tony Fernandez, who's the head CEO of AirAsia, and its questions arise over dumping by CEO Tony Fernandez of stocks days before AirAsia Q78510 crash. Basically, this goes on about, without going through it too much, they're doing an analyst believe he and AirAsia could survive a tragedy that befell 87501, but there are also reports that could potentially damage both the CEO and the brand, etc. One such report, I've highlighted this, I'll take that out so you can read it. One such report which came out in Malaysia. Insider states that Fernandez sold 944,800 shares of Toon Insurance Holdings on December the 22nd and 23rd for RM 1.6 per share. Toon provides insurance to passengers of AirAsia, but its share price has been declining since August. I mean, I won't go on. I mean, it gives you an idea of the rumors about this guy, and he sold all them insurance shares to cover AirAsia. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on there. Just something I noticed the other day. So, yeah, with that, I'll put it back to you, PJ.
Yeah, interesting that, Andy. Nice find. Yeah, no problem. What about you, Buck? Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say, isn't that interesting how when you first pulled this article up the other day, PJ, and Andy mentioned a few things, and I said, you know, just off the top of my head, and anyone could have said it, but I said follow the money trail, and sure enough, we get a bit of the money trail is exposed here, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Andy, I'll finish with my articles, so it's all yours. What have you got for us? What's your flux?
Well, I've struggled a bit today, boys. I don't mind admitting it. I don't know what it was. I just couldn't seem to get my teeth into any of the stories that were about. So I found an article from 2 or 3 days ago. Panic. Oh, the world is coming to an end. I know. I'm a bit of a doom master, and I really. But it's apparently come from NASA. There was an early report in September saying that they've found a new part of the asteroid belt that the Earth's going to have to go through in the next 100 years, and there's thousands of these lumps of rock from all sorts of sizes that are going to come close to Earth, and there's one particular one, they said it's a head-on collision. That's another story, that's in years to come, but more closer to the stage we're in now is this article here. Scores of giant asteroids on course to hurtle past Earth within the month, NASA reveals. Scores of giant asteroids are on course to hurtle close to the Earth before the end of February, according to latest NASA space data. Some are more than 1 kilometre wide and threatening devastating consequences if they were to strike our planet. Of almost 70 asteroids on the radar, most are around 100 metres wide. The size of a double-decker bus and would be capable of causing significant damage. Experts warn if one of these monsters, some of which travel up to 70,000 miles an hour, were to hit Earth, it could alter life as we know it. Plumes of debris thrown into the atmosphere would change the climate, making the planet inhabitable for all life, including humans. An impact would be catastrophic, destroying cities and knocking out transport and communication networks. According to NASA's Near-Earth Project program, there are 68 close approaches forecast before the end of the next month. The next due on January the 3rd is the 490-metre wide 2005 YQ-96 asteroid, currently hurtling through space at more than 30,000 miles per hour. The biggest to skim the planet will be the mile-wide 2007 EJ asteroid, due to fall past on January the 12th at 4,500 miles an hour. Experts say, although it is unlikely any of these will hit the Earth, there is always a chance they may veer off course or explode, showering the planet with debris. Bill Napier, Professor of Astronomy at the University of Buckinghamshire, said if you are talking about a real major impact, you're looking at one every few centuries. These are the real showstoppers, and in history have sometimes been described as fire from the heavens. However, the smaller collisions happen more frequently. Asteroids of 2 kilometres, 1.2 miles, can cause a global catastrophe, which would exterminate around 2/3 of the human race, mainly due to heat produced. There's also a hazard brought by comets, and these occur in more short time scales. If the Earth passes, hang on, I've got a video going here. Hopefully you're not hearing it. I don't know where it's coming from. I'll move on anyway. I've lost my place now, boys. The warnings come after scientists from around the world converged at the end of last year to raise the alarm that there are around 1 million undetected asteroids currently flying through space. They said without better technology and means of deflection, one could hit the Earth and trigger the disaster similar to the collision which killed the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Launching Asteroid Day designated in 30th of June, co-founder of the initiative, Gregory Reiter, said, there are thousands of asteroids that we know nothing about. We take this very seriously. It just takes one asteroid to completely destroy life, not just humanity, but all species. Asteroid Day is about raising awareness, understanding there's a threat and dealing with it. Scientists reckon of all the asteroids blasting through space and capable of wiping out planets, they are aware of just 1% of them. Space expert Bill Nye, who's backed the project, said if the Tunguska asteroid, which hit Siberia on June the 30th, 1908, had arrived just hours later, it would have changed the path of civilization. He said if the event had taken place 6.5 hours later, Berlin would have been in the object's path, and that would have changed the path of civilization. Our challenge is to find these things, but it's looking like a piece of charcoal in the dark. We have technology to detect asteroids using lasers. This is the real deal. Perhaps the reason we haven't heard from other civilizations in space is because they didn't pass the asteroid test. Dinosaurs were almost certainly killed off by an asteroid. NASA said it is aware of 1,552 potential hazardous asteroids, PHs, outer space, which show an orbit dangerously close to swiping Earth. The spokesman said potential hazard asteroids are currently defined based on parameters that measure the asteroid's potential to make threatening close approaches to the Earth. This potential to make close Earth approaches does not mean a PHA will impact. Not having a good night tonight. Will impact the Earth. It only means there is a possibility for such a threat. By monitoring these PHAs and updating their orbits as new observations become available, we can better predict the close approaches statistics and thus their Earth impact threat. If very quickly, I haven't got any questions on that, boy. If you don't want me to keep the page up, I'll kill it because I'm not sure where this is coming from. But basically, Yeah, we've known for decades that, and hundreds of years, I guess, really, that these things come and go, and there's always a risk of one of these large ones hitting the planet and wiping civilization off the Earth in an instant. And I don't think it's so much scare stories by NASA. I think they have to say these things and hedge their bets somewhat. And let's be honest, these are really large asteroids that they're pointing out, that's going to be coming through here in the next month or so. Bear in mind, they can't detect these really small ones, like the one that came in, was it last year in Russia? I mean, it came out of the sun and all this business. But even asteroids that size, made of the right material, that can actually survive the entry and burn up and everything. I mean, if that one was to hit the ground that broke up in 3 miles above the ground or whatever, that would have made a hell of a mess of that area. So, with a lot of these bigger rocks coming through, and an earlier article last year was saying about this 100-year period, and there's lots of other things going on, but we won't go into them tonight. But maybe we're entering a time of all sorts of things happening, and there's always a chance these small asteroids won't be picked up, and they could perhaps wipe out a city or anything. So anyway, that's my articles for tonight. I haven't got anything else. I'll put it over to you, Bock, if you've got anything to say on any of this.
Yeah, I was going to say that's pretty wild that it's not just one asteroid. There's a whole fleet of them, huh?
Yep. That's right. There's quite a lot. Let me get rid of this page.
And I was thinking when you were when you were talking through your article about it would be I would love to see this. I wish they had a satellite up there and film this as they go by. Like why don't they show us something like that? Keep your moon and your Mars projects disclosed, whatever you want to do, but at least show us some. Make some of us happy. And I was thinking about, even with this advanced technology, if we can, we can distantly see from a distance asteroids approaching us. There's two scenarios where, let's say, the technology fails, and as you know, like these things are traveling at, speeds of light and stuff like that. So, in a blink of an eye, these things could be on the Earth. And I was thinking, with or without technology, we wouldn't even be able to stop some of this stuff.
No, exactly. I think it shows you how fragile life is, isn't it? Really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you take into consideration the thin blue line, the atmosphere that keeps everything just about right, and there's loads of. Yeah, it does make you think, but yeah, they're not going to see the smaller ones, and I think the smaller ones, there's more of them about, I would think, and I don't know, just fingers crossed, isn't it, really? What do you think, PJ?
Well, they've always said it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So if it's to happen, it's to happen. It's meant to happen.
Yeah.
So
And we did get hit before. Scientists say, well, they theorize that that's what took the dinosaurs out the last time the asteroid hit our planet.
Yeah, that's one theory.
Some millions of years ago.
I can't really say, Buck. I don't think. Although I'm getting on a bit, that'd be stretching it a bit to say I was about then. But yes, of course, that's the theory. That's the theory. So.
Oh yeah, we all came with a wool blanket attached to our body then. we were the hairy barbarians of old.
Alright guys, great articles, thanks a lot. We'll be back tomorrow, people, so stay tuned.